actually, of the Rugby League Coach Analysis Sessions. This is analysis session number 7. This is Lee Addison speaking to you now.
It's Brendan Rose.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see us as well. And I won't be surprised if nobody turns up, Rosie, because we only decided we were doing this 2 hours ago. So only advertised it a little bit. We're looking at the Penrith Panthers versus the Melbourne Storm. Round 24 clash on Thursday, the 15th of August. It's currently half time. It's 16-10 to the Storm. But when I say it's half time, there's actually a kick to come because Nathan Cleary is about to take a penalty for Penrith. So it could be 16-12.
That whole scenario is a joke, an absolute joke.
I'll get you to tell us about it in a minute, Rosie, because I actually missed that. So I'll just read through where we're at so that people are up to speed if they're listening to this later on. It's at Bluebet Stadium, Penrith, or Penrith Park, as we all know it. 16-12 to the Storm, though, at Penrith Panthers. Grant Anderson and Katoa have scored the tries. Katoa scored 2 for Melbourne. Nick Meaney's kicked 2 out of 3 conversions. Lindsay Smith and Isaac Tago hit back for Penrith, brought it back to 10-all at one point, and Nathan Cleary has kicked a goal and now a penalty goal. Go on, elaborate on that, Rosie.
So what's happened there is Melbourne have gone up. The winger has gone, no, I'm not going to take the tap, thrown it back to Pappenhausen. On the replay, Panthers have told the video ref what to look at. Yes, Howarth had a foot offside, but then also all the Penrith defenders were 2 or 3 meters offside. So if if they're gonna sit there and nitpick on the rules, the first infringement was Penrith offside, so it should have been a penalty to Melbourne on the 20-meter line because that was the first infringement. End of the day.
So for those who don't know,
because had 6 or 7 Panthers players blatantly telling the video ref what to do, they've just looked at that one incident rather than taking, whoa, let's take a step back, because Panthers haven't to be onside at a restart. If they're offside at a restart, it's a penalty.
End
of story.
For those who don't know, Brendan Rose is an ex-Queensland Cup referee, so he does know his stuff. Rosie, aside from that, I would like to just say that I think Ashley Klein's had a great game so far.
Oh, Ashley Klein did nothing wrong.
I know. I'm just saying he's had a really good game. I think he's got loads of little decisions right. I mean, there's enough people who are really keen to chuck some knives into referees' backs when they get things wrong. But let's praise him. Let's praise him when he's done at least a good half of football so far, right there.
As I said, Ashley Klein had no input into that decision whatsoever. That was a video ref decision. Ashley Klein could have blown the pee out of the whistle tonight, but he's let the team play footy. There's been instances there where I've gone, oh, Stormy, you're holding down. Obviously, he didn't get the memo from NRL 360 this week about Panthers putting their foot on the ball, because they haven't been putting the foot on the ball most half.
Nope.
Is it really a game changer? My personal opinion, not really. I don't think they're really getting an advantage of it. But yeah, I think he got it right. I think the video referee got the first try right. I don't think Nathan Cleary was ever going to get involved. The centre, Isaac Tungo, had already made a decision to come in. He ended up on his ass, and then the ball's gone out the back, and they've scored in the corner. In regards to the only other contentious try was the Eli Katoa try, the one just before half time, where Will Warbrick probably hit the ball. If the referee said no try, it would have stayed no try. If he said try, it would, because the camera angles were quite that. But other than that, I think he's probably refereed the game well. It's probably been a pretty good game of footy, to be fair.
I believe that in terms of the football's not been bad. First of all, I'd just like to say, when you watch a game on television at Penrith, I actually think the camera angle's really poor. I always
Yeah,
think when you watch a game at Suncorp, don't interrupt me
yeah.
again, Rosie. Stop it. We've sort of told you off about this 1,000 times now.
We've,
The
we've
at
actually
some
got two viewers.
at Suncorp, you get a really good angle down. So an average game of football sometimes looks better than it should do. Whereas at Penrith, I think this is a really good game of football that probably doesn't look as good because of the camera angles. So the the big thing that stood out for me in that first half was that as soon as Penrith started playing some football, so they were trying to play in the grind a little bit. Their good ball was also quite predictable. They sort of played around to get to the middle and then back, and then they made some room for Luai and Cleary to shift and then shift again. Once they sort of got behind, and I'll talk about the way they got behind in a moment. It's like the shackles were off a little bit, and they just went, right, we're playing football. They did a shift from their own end at one point, and on the next play, they made a 50-meter break. I think Penrith are far more dangerous when they play football, and then Melbourne readjusted to that, and then they started to play through down the middle again. The Penrith was certainly targeting the middle of the field at the start of the game, I thought. But what Storm did was, again, I mean, I'm not focusing as much on the Storm this week because we did them a couple of weeks ago. But the fact that they their kick chase led to their second try, so the pressure they put on Edwards at that point, but also just doing the little things, the completions, the 1%ers in defence, the kick chase on other occasions, the fact that they don't take any shortcuts to anything. So Penrith was sort of going fire with fire for a while. The first try the Storm scored, I don't know if you noticed, but number 4 for Penrith, you're the names man, so you'll have to tell me who that
That
is.
go.
He slipped. He
Yeah,
turned in, but he also actually slipped. So
and
so
that that was the same for the Penrith first try too.
yeah,
Shane Blaw slipped, which meant that um, Cameron Munster then held a little bit, which meant the second rower
that's
could get.
right.
And Yo's just too classy with the ball in his hand.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's some highlights coming on now. Whenever Penrith moved the ball, they caused Melbourne a few problems. Now, where I think Penrith have got real problems is with the high ball, with the kick to the corners. So I remember in the COVID year when every team played at Suncorp Stadium, and I had a membership for Suncorp Stadium that year. So I had a real good look at all teams that year. And I remember one night Brian Tottle really having a bad night under the high ball, and it made me wonder why people didn't test him more. And tonight, all Melbourne have done is sent bombs up,
yeah,
and they've come up with the goods on 2 occasions. So they're zooming in on an Achilles heel here, I think, of the Penrith Panthers. Now, Brian Toto isn't obviously the tallest. Dylan Edwards, I thought, for when he got outdone, he was a bit too far underneath the ball. I mean, we're talking about one of the safest fullbacks in the game here, but he was a bit too far underneath the ball, I felt. Uh, so there is little
and,
chinks in this Penrith armour, but
and
at,
then
at,
they also targeted Dane Laurie, and Dane Laurie's not normally a winger, and he made that knock on, and I think that
yeah,
led to one of the tries as well.
that's right. That's right. So I wouldn't be overly concerned if I was Penrith, but what they've got to do is they've got to keep Storm away from their end of the field. So they've got to cut the penalties down, the agains down, because these attacking kicks only happen if they get down your end of the football field, and it's like a passive tackle. If you do a passive tackle on your try line, it's a try. So if you invite the opposition into your half to kick the football, then the attacking kick is more likely the kick is more likely to be attacking. So Penrith can fix that by tightening up their disciplines, which at the start of the game were a little bit sloppy too, if you remember. And the other thing that's sloppy I've never seen Cleary do one bad pass in a game. Never mind two of them, and then the goal he missed. So I just feel there's a few things not quite right with Penrith, but nothing to worry about too much.
I disagree with you on that Nathan Cleary to agree. I think a bit of it has actually been from Melbourne. One thing I have been seeing from Melbourne is they're going up, but both of their centres are really cutting off the time and space of Nathan Cleary a lot more than where a lot of times the team will sort of go forward but then sort of hold and then slide. And because both back rowers really aren't, I wouldn't exactly say really good line runners, because you got Lindsay Smith on one side and you got Maverick Geyer on the other side. Lindsay Smith is normally a middle, so they're not
Yeah,
as that decision making process
yeah,
if,
yeah, yeah.
in the back row, even though Lindsay Smith scored, and so Howarth really pushed out of that line hard. The same with Shane Blaw's really pushed out of that line hard with Nathan Cleary. And Nathan Cleary's time and space compared to last week is a lot less. So what they did then Penrith then goes, okay, let's go the opposite way to Jerome Hughes and let Jerome Hughes be the conductor for a little bit to try and take a little bit of the heat off Nathan Cleary, and that's the good development of Jerome Hughes again. I actually think that the Storm are doing the exact same thing as that we identified a couple of weeks ago when they were playing. I think it was Parramatta. They really target both playmakers by playing within the sideline and the 40-meter line track all game. So that 20-meter lot there, and they really go. So what ends up happening then, and I saw it quite a bit, is the middle forwards would then slide across and then get caught in that part, and then the fast guys like Jerome Hughes, Cameron Munster, Ryan Pappenhausen are getting a lot of yards and a lot of joy in the middle of the paddock. And I think as the game on, I think Jerome Hughes is he's really gonna come into the game and really terrorise them in the ruck, because the middle forwards, not so much your Isaiah Yeo, but more your James Fisher Harris and them, have been sliding over to that part, which means the spacing in the middle of the field isn't as good as it normally is for Penrith.
I'd like to add to that. I actually think that defensively, Penrith have been at times a little bit over eager. So they've actually overcommitted on some occasions. So um, they're moving up that fast at times that if you if you move up so fast, you can sometimes get caught on an angle because somebody moves up a bit faster than the other player. For example, there's times when the umbrella, if you like, of Penrith is really matching the line movement of Melbourne. It's really in the face. So I think sometimes when you're that exuberant in your defence, you can overcook it a little bit. Um, whereas we talked about last week, the team that we studied, it was Titans and Sharks. Was it
Yeah,
last week?
and they just went
Uh,
straight middle. They went straight
yeah,
down the
yeah,
hole.
yeah. And then there was another team we were talking about recently where they got up and just held, just sort of paddled. Penrith are basically flying up and not doing much paddling, if you like. The
Yeah,
collisions are good, the wrestle's good, all that kind of thing, really consistent. But I do think occasionally they could just do with being a bit calmer on the edge of defence, in the middle when they're sliding, etc. There's a difference between going fast, being fast, and rushing, and I think sometimes Penrith are just rushing a little bit, and somebody like Munster just needs a little sniff.
yeah.
And I remember very early in the game, he just got that little offload away. You could see it because Munster's one of those players who looks like he's got a hell of a lot of time, and you could see the offload about half an hour before he was about to do it. I think so.
It was the same with that last try. He actually called that kick to Will Warbrick over the actual tackle before, but Harry Grant actually went short to Kamakamatha early, even though it's Tui. I'm just going to call him Tui because I can't get his last name right. he actually went there, and Munster blew up to a degree. But thankfully for the Storm, they could still isolate Toto out in the in goal. So it looks like we're going into the second half here. What's your one message to the Panthers, and what's your one message to the Storm?
Well, I think I'd like Penrith to play the game a bit more down the opposite end of the field, in terms of not giving away the six agains and the penalties. I think that's key because the reality is, if they don't do that, Melbourne wouldn't be on the board yet. Whereas Penrith, to me, have been the best football side out of the two. Melbourne, I would like them to be a lot more elaborate with the ball, in good ball. I think they're actually a bit readable, if I'm quite frank. So I'd be talking to them at half time about their good ball. Are you watching on Nine or are you watching on KO?
I'm on KO.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I did have a question, Rosie, that came through
Oh,
off one of my followers this week on
also, too.
socials that I wanted
Well,
to ask. Yeah, go on.
it's interesting. Panthers have gone that sort of mid range around that 20-meter line high kick, and then
Yeah,
early or half time they've gone that they went that long, sorry, that on the ground grubber sort of kick. So it'd be interesting to see what they do here in the second half. I reckon he'll probably do that high sort of mid range 20 to 10-meter line kick rather than in the in goal that we're normally seeing.
that's interesting. Yeah, I'll have a look out for that. So we're off again now. Look how tight that Penrith line is,
Yeah,
Rosie. How compressed it is.
well,
That wasn't that wasn't a feature in the first half.
it'd be interesting to see what happens when Cameron Ciraldo sees that too.
Yeah, it's not like their defence has gone to pot since he left. Yeah, that
No,
that 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 defence is a hell of a lot tighter than it was in the first half. So
yeah,
I guess we know what Cleary said, but it opens up after tackle three to a more middle of the road sort of spacing. Um,
I've actually been quite interested in how I actually thought Panthers would dominate the middle of the field. They just seemed, but Melbourne have sort of held their gloves up quite well in this game so
well,
far.
that doesn't surprise me about Melbourne. What what surprised me is how long it took Penrith to play some football. Actually,
Yeah, and because Dylan Edwards hasn't really been in the game at all.
no.
He
And
has
I
had a
wonder. I mean, it's not often he makes an error, so you got to wonder what kind of effect the error does have on him
yeah,
when
and
it
and all,
happens.
but I must say that all game the line speed of Melbourne has been probably as good as I've seen it for a long time. Um, uh, and I think the heart and the mouth with Harry Grant on the ground.
Can you? Are you all right? Turn your volume down, Rosie, just so we don't get any bounce back.
There you go.
Thank you. Um. So Melbourne have just given away the first penalty. I
Yep.
noticed again something I didn't mention before is how Penrith are turning the ball back inside a bit too. I don't know if they think that the Melbourne middles have got some poor lateral movement.
You you've spoken about this previously in the past. Is what we're seeing with Melbourne is they're going up quick, but then they're sort of paddling. But the good thing is you can see that they're all on their toes. Where we were talking
Yes.
about a couple of weeks ago at Titans, they'd paddle, but they're paddling on their heel.
Yeah, I think the Broncos we hammered for that as well. I think.
Yeah, they were definitely paddling on their heels. So
Yeah.
and not this is not Penrith like when Penrith get an opportunity, they usually don't make an error. And there's been a number of times when they're attacking the line that they've made errors. And I think they said they've made 5 errors through the game. I think they were 14 from 19. I think when the Panthers played the grand final last year, I think their first error was something like 60, 70 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
So they're definitely off. Banana Man's going off the field with that jaw. I reckon he looks like. You remember the old cartoons, Banana Man?
Yes, I do.
I reckon that McDonald looks like Banana Man. Maybe his first name is Eric. Eric was just in.
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't look well, does he?
No, I can't see him coming back. To be fair,
He's got some jawline on him. I guess this game, in some ways, has frustrated me a little bit because there has been a lot of arm wrestling in it too. So even though the ball's been moving a little bit from Penrith, it's still been an arm wrestle that seems to have just been played in the middle of the field so much. And when I say the middle, I don't mean the geographical middle. I mean the middle as in terms of sort of 30 metres from one try line and 30
yeah,
metres from another try line.
the
Melbourne are turning it back inside though here, and so
yeah,
both teams are trying to test the inside. I wouldn't like to think Penrith have got a dodgy lateral defence, so maybe it's just from Melbourne's point of view, just a bit of variety.
the only thing
Uh,
I'm thinking too though
oh,
is
Harry Grant. Harry Grant
oh
is very much a wriggly little so and so, isn't he?
yeah,
When he gets out at the ruck there.
fitness wise, if you're coming up in an defensive line and then you're moving laterally because they're bringing the ball back under you, will
Mm.
that fatigue you a lot quicker than if they keep just going out the back to the sideline?
What it does is it mentally fatigues you, and I think that change of direction knocks a little bit more out of you, but not a significant amount. Where it gets tiring is when you have to turn back inside and make the tackle. That and you invariably end up on the floor. So what we'll do is we'll look at some tackle techniques and see how many defenders actually land on the floor. Because one advice I give to a lot of players is to stay on the feet when they tackle. Did you see Penrith paddling there on the kick chase? I do worry about Penrith spacing sometimes, but when we look at this tackle now, you'll see the tacklers are on their feet for the vast majority of it, and then go down to ground.
Yep,
That is a far more economical way of tackling than tackling where you're on the ground. You see, on that tackle, it was more of a passive tackle, so the tackler was on the ground before the attacker was.
yep.
So when you turn the ball back inside, that's what you are encouraging the defenders to do. I've noticed a couple of spaces, and Cameron Munster just had a sniff there. Penrith do leave a bit around the A defender area from the markers to the first defender, and their spacings can sometimes be exposed too. So Penrith certainly aren't infallible, that's for sure. Where is Martin, the second rower? Is he injured?
He got suspended for that hit on the leg last week, so he's out. And then you've got to remember too, the other centre Sorensen's out as well, and Sorensen's a bit of an unsung hero within that
Mhm.
Panther. He definitely does a lot of work in defence, but also too he's quite a good ball runner there. And I guess if you've got two young kids on the edge, even though the system and we're talking milli levels here, is their confidence in that
Milliseconds, yeah.
is going to be down a little bit. And then with such a great system like Panthers is, and you get away with it when you're playing Panthers and different things, but you're probably not going to get away with it when you play these top quality sides.
Couple of things I'm noticing in this set. Penrith are definitely turning the ball back inside now, and they're definitely trying to expose the sideways movement of the forwards. Who in that set there, look, the Melbourne forwards did look like they might be getting a little tired, and it's led to a try by Dylan Edwards because I think they played that set at tempo. But the other thing they did early in that set, and it's something that I've not noticed them do all night, is they actually targeted Jerome Hughes, mate.
Yeah, I think, and it was Isaiah Yo that really targeted him here.
Mm,
Um, so he's then
yeah,
gone out.
passive tackle. He did a passive tackle, you see. So that's a quick
Yeah,
play. The ball. They played on the back of it. Good hands. Penrith are really good with the core skills. Simple kick, and then Dylan Edwards goes over for the try. Now at this juncture, what I want to say is that Penrith's tries have all been football tries,
yeah,
whereas Melbourne's have been two kicks and from a scrum where I think they got a bit lucky because the right side centre slipped. So, I'd be more confident if I was Penrith, basically. I'm more annoyed if I was Melbourne. Um, we did get a question on Facebook this week, and I promise this person that I'd read it out tonight on this podcast. It was Rex Hawkins on Facebook. Rosie, can you tell me what is a stripped ball? At times it is not. What is a play the ball? What is a knock on when the ball does not touch the ground? What is a send off reason? What is a high tackle? What is a hooker nowadays? Now he's asked about 1,000 questions there.
I was,
So
I
I
was
guess
going
I'm
to say
throwing over to you, Rosie, as the referee. Does Rex's comment, which obviously covers a load of areas, but does that reflect the growing exasperation of fans with officialdom?
it does, and it's that consistency that people get. People are happy to have. There's always going to be a window because we're humans. We're all
Yeah.
different. There needs to be some sort of consistency in regards to the decision. And I think a lot of people cop a decision from a center referee and go, "Okay, got one look at it," or that she's got one look at it.
Yeah.
It's when the video ref, when they slow it down and there's inconsistencies in regards to that people get really really frustrated, and I can totally understand why they're frustrated. Is because you can't use that one look key. You can't. They're seeing it. They're seeing it multiple times. They're seeing it in different angles. So they shouldn't be getting that wrong. And a question like that, you can give them a definition every day of the week, but you know, it's that interpretation of the intent as well. Like with a strip, did they intend to go at the ball or were they just making a tackle?
Penrith are
Um,
shifting the ball early now, Rosie, and they've certainly had some joy doing this. The advantage of shifting the ball early in a set is that you just change the angle of the set and you get the defence moving laterally, and defenders who thought they might be getting a little rest all of a sudden get called into play. And
yeah,
then what Penrith are doing now is shifting back the other way. So this is what I've said. They look better from this point of view, Rosie. They're sometimes
yeah,
better doing this than going down the middle. They got passive tackles there. I guess a good thing Penrith are doing is the variety of it. So when they feel that the Storm are picking up on it, they're then playing a bit more direct. So all credit to Nathan and Cleary and his dad there for that.
yeah,
I honestly, Melbourne have got to settle back into this game for my money, and otherwise Penrith could run away with this one. They look a little bit rattled, Melbourne, to me at times.
yeah. I think
Um,
I think this interchange is a very key interchange going forward with Wishart coming in. So what
yeah,
that's going to tell me is they believe that their joy is going to be so Wishart's probably come on at 13, and I'm guessing that is so he's going to be sniffing around the middle of the ruck. So they think probably they're going to find joy in the middle of the ruck. So it'll be interesting to see whether that move's gonna pay off, or Panthers realise that they've probably been a little bit loose in the middle and tighten it up a little bit as well.
I'm
Um,
proving my point there, Rosie. The Penrith Panthers didn't give away a penalty, didn't give away six again. Storm had to kick from deep. They kicked high again, but Toto just gobbled it up easily.
yeah,
So if they cut those penalties down and the six agains, they're keeping Munster and Hughes at the back end of the field for the kicks, and they're less likely to have a problem, I think, dealing with the kicks. The If Penrith score the next try, then I think it's going to be hard, and I'm calling it this early, for Melbourne to settle back into the game, because I think Penrith are playing with a joy de vivre, to use that term, where they look free, they look loose, they look happy, they look confident, and even though it's not come off on that occasion, they look comfortable with their game. Whereas Melbourne are chasing it a little bit. Melbourne are still a bit predictable. Forward struggling to get back a little bit there. Nothing major, and don't forget I tipped Melbourne for the Premiership. So I think what Melbourne are proving here is that they can go toe to toe with Penrith. I know there's some people missing, etc., etc. There's another high kick, and the back three of Penrith had dealt with that one, but only just. Instead, the Storm have given away a penalty now. That to me suggests clearly that's part of their strategy tonight, that they're gonna bomb, they're gonna go high, and they're gonna chase really hard. Did Klein
Yeah,
get that one right? Is the question. Yeah, he did. He did.
yeah, I think you got it right. You just got to be smarter. There's no excuse why you hit a guy on the ground. I'm sorry. Like, you've got to be smarter in the game, especially when you're playing Panthers. You know, yeah, yeah, that was silly. See, then you look at the penalty count here. So Panthers have had 7 penalties. They're always going to get their complimentary 1 or 2 penalties at
Yeah.
Arc. And then the Melbourne Storm have only had 2, and they haven't had one for quite a significant amount of time.
No. No. So I
And
think this is. I think Penrith have got this game by the balls right now.
I think this is Panthers' game to lose rather than Melbourne's game to win. To be honest, they're dominating field position. They're dominating momentum. You'd have to.
See, they're playing with a gay abandon here now, and that's a sign of a confident football team. It's a sign of a team that is connected. It's a sign of a team that have been together in juniors, etc., for a long time, and they've been together for a long time. Whereas Melbourne just look a little bit robotic to me still.
Yeah, but the mind you too, though, that this this blind abandonment of is not Panthers' real football, and
Mm,
and Melbourne are a type of team that if they'll just hang in there, and they're only 2 points down here,
yeah,
and something like a loose ball or that could change this momentum, especially when you got your Munster, your Pappenhausen, your Hugheses, and even probably your Wisharts as well. But at the end of the day, we've got tackle 5. We haven't even hit the 40-meter line, and Hughes is going to be having to knock the ball quite long and deep. They'd have to make a mistake for Melbourne to have this game.
I
So
do think Melbourne needs to take a leaf out of Penrith's book and play a bit more coming out of their own end.
yeah,
I think just to vary it a little bit, because Penrith are picking them off quite
quite easy.
significantly.
And the thing too with this, and I'm not 100% sure who the young. Looks like Munster won't be playing the rest of the game by the looks of that. He
Well,
copped.
a ball's come out. That's the thing I noticed, but
Yeah, but
I didn't
he,
see what Munster copped.
yeah, look at his nose. I think big Nelson just showed him big elbow, and now
Okay.
and now I can't see Munster finishing the game, to be
No,
honest.
he was ahead. Nelson knocked the Penrith
Oh
player's head, knocked the Penrith player's head into Munster's head. That's what happened.
yeah,
Oh, and then Nelson stuck a forearm on him too, just for good measure. So,
uh,
um,
maybe Cameron Munster played a practical joke on him during the week, and he needed to get him back.
why is Nelson gesturing there? Is he?
Well, I think they're saying that they're going to send Nelson off for high shot on his own player.
Yeah, can you get sent off for nailing your own play? No, he caught the Penrith fella too. To be fair, so the
I
Penrith fella crashed to his feet, crashed to his legs too. He was a bit groggy,
Yeah,
and he's going off for an HIA. So
in the back.
he's managed to get both of them, Nelson.
But the thing is, though, is there was no what? So they're saying that Munster, but he hit Munster in the head.
No, Nelson gave it to the Penrith guy too.
Yeah, in the back though. It was
He collected him both. He collected them both. No, I can see Nelson being in a bit of trouble here, because he collected them both, mate. He got Nelson there, Dane Laurie there, and then collected his mate. His shoulder went right into Dane Laurie's head. Look, yeah, no, he'd
no.
could be in
I
a
didn't
bit of bother.
in the head.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's funny you said about Nelson a couple of weeks ago, didn't you, with his lateral movement? So
Yeah.
maybe that's what Penrith are working on. But I think he's been strong today, personally.
Oh, I thought he has been. He's just been getting up. He's been getting up in that line. I don't.
He's a unit, isn't he?
I genuinely don't understand. I can't see 10 in the bin there. I'm sorry. I really. He's hit his own play.
No, he got Dan Laurie with his shoulder, mate. His shoulder went into Dan Laurie's head. So I'm fine with that. But
Mate,
this is huge now. This is a huge
I
period now.
there with that one decision. I can't see. I can't see Storm holding on for 10 minutes down a man. Um, uh, if they do, that means Panthers have shot themselves in the foot. So yeah,
It's with the football that Penrith are playing, the 12 men are going to have trouble keeping them out. Definitely.
and just that defense then was terrible. They were just like, there's no reason
Yeah. Number 4. Who's number 4? Is that Meany? He made a real poor decision then.
for no,
Melbourne
it was number 3 actually, and that
made a
was
real poor decision. No, on the right, far side.
that's Meanies on the far side, House
Yeah,
on the
that's what I meant. He made a really poor decision. Yeah, they're in. Penrith are in. Playing football like this when there's a sin bin
yeah,
is a really big thing. Is a really big thing. This is probably a good time to talk about your tips, Rosie. You did tip the Storm tonight.
yeah. I thought Penrith were terrible last week. To be fair, that's why that to let in 36 points against a Parramatta side. With Liam Martin in there, Liam Martin's a bit of barometer for me in regards to energy and different things. But I thought it'd be a close game. Um, I don't I don't know how close it's going to be moving forward, but yeah,
It's still close now. Rugbyleaguecoach.com.au /coach, guys. If you want to have a look at some coaching resources, the world's biggest online rugby league resource. There's also a link there to coach seminars that happen each weekend and a few other bits and bats. Um, Rosie, we've had Noah Around the Town with Taylor Brown podcast this week, so we'll just take this moment while there's a couple of minutes in between the try being scored, the goal being kicked, and the restart. A couple of issues knocking around the NRL. Latrell Mitchell, what do you make of that?
uh, it's not a good look for the game, but there needs to be some sort of credibility on some people. You can't just be out the back.
Accountability.
Account Latrell's got accountable for what he's doing. He puts himself he puts himself in as a role model, and that sort of stuff is not acceptable. It's against the law.
Does
But
he put himself in as a role model?
sorry,
Does he call himself a role
yeah,
model?
he
Does he
does.
sign up for being a role model?
Yeah. The way he positions himself within his community, he knows and he understands his position in his community and how much. And I'm not saying I think how he voices and how he puts himself is quite good, but
Mm,
there's also a level of accountability when you step outside
yeah.
that. And unfortunately for him, when he sits in a community and he's talking to young kids now and says, get into sport, don't do drugs, don't do these things,
Mm, mm.
and if the perception is correct, his credibility when he's delivering that probably is affected. But there also needs to be some accountability from the people that are actually, if they score
Yeah,
here,
Penrith just tried to shift the ball in their own 20, but there's
yep,
been a ball steal. So Melbourne, who was writing off Melbourne? Was it you, Rosie?
yeah, it wasn't he actually, and Banana Man's back on the field.
That's what they need. They need Banana Man. So
Yeah.
I was saying that Melbourne needed a bit more in good ball. They've actually not been up in good ball that much. Good
No,
ball
they
being
haven't.
the
This is
opposition
this is their
2030.
first good ball in the second half. I
Yeah.
think the benefit I can't see Munster coming back on, but the benefit that they've got is they've got Tyrone Wishart out there who's played a lot of six
Yeah.
in recent times. But they're still not offering anything in attack.
Yeah, it's very readable. It's the ball's not getting much air. There's only been 2 passes maximum, basically. But Grant's burrowed over, I think, there, or if he
Then,
hasn't, he's an inch away. I look like a try to me. Ashley Klein's going to send it up as no try.
well, I think it'll probably come back as no try because I can't see them getting a good camera angle.
So Harry Grant has just burrowed over. That's a try.
It's a
He
try, is
scored
it?
that. Hey, the
That's
ball went to the ground. Yeah,
yeah, that's a
yeah.
try.
I like it. Try. I like that.
That has to have hit the ground.
Yeah. I think you'll find the point of it hit it before it got covered
I
up.
think ground on that
That
first.
was brilliant. That was brilliant from Harry Grant.
Yeah, it was good from.
Yeah, it's a
I
try.
keep
It's a try. He scored it.
I
I was
keep
surprised he sent it up as a no try. Actually, I thought it looked like it might have been a try.
I keep wanting to say
So
but Tyrone Wishart did well. You know, he identified that gap. He went for it. No, they're going to call it no try.
I don't know why. That is ridiculous.
Home.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
I'm not going to say a word.
I've got no problem with Ashley Klein. He was blinded,
No, yeah, no. How
but
that
that is ridiculous. He put the ball on the line. Oh my god! Get rid of the bunker. Get rid of the bunker.
that is
That is disgusting. That is disgusting. If you're watching this later on the recording, do yourself a favour and don't look back at that because you'll never watch rugby league again because I'm filthy. That was a try. There's a bit of a blue here. Fisher Harris has been solid without being spectacular tonight. I wonder if he's getting a bit frustrated. Hello, Rosie. We're doing a
you know,
yeah,
thing really annoys me. And there's a number of players out in the field and it's really crept into his Dylan Edwards getting into the face of the referee over and over and over again. His first movement straight there at the scrum just before halftime, he's up into the face of it. You know,
yeah.
you're not the captain, mate. And the referees need to stand up and say, you're not the captain. And there's one or two that do, and pretty much say, piss off, get back, and do your job, and let me do mine.
Harry Grant scored that. I'm still in shock about that, and I can't believe Melbourne didn't blow up about it.
Nope.
I can't believe the cameras didn't go on Craig Bellamy. The windows are probably smashed in the coaching box. So Wishart goes in under the sticks now. You see, their good ball sets are really average at the minute, but Wishart adds a little bit of X factor. So that's karma that because they should have scored on the previous set. They should have had a try.
So
Um,
Bellamy's a
mm,
master coach because when we pretty much ruled him out, and more me than you,
yeah,
Wish the field comes into lock. We were saying that they're a bit Panthers probably if they're loose anywhere, they're loose in the middle.
yeah,
And what's happened there? That he's come on and there should have been 2 tries because he's come through the middle of the field, then outfloated to Harry Grant. He put the ball 3 inches under the on the try line, but got caught back. But then the
yeah.
rugby league gods have said no. Melbourne need a try here because they've already scored it, and Wishart scored under the post.
Melbourne are proving that they are going to be there or thereabouts in the Premiership decision when the decision is given to who gets the trophy because they've not laid down here and they've rattled Penrith at times, even though that's probably the first real football try they've scored because the other ones have been from kicks and things like that. It was still they were putting Penrith in places they didn't want to be. So
And
so and it's been a great substitution by Craig Bellamy to put Wishart on and bring him in the middle of the field because he's really took on the line. So that's
and
been a great substitution from him. So all locked up with 18 minutes to go.
also something you did see there was if you watch when Wishart comes in here from the other angle, is you said that Panthers could be a little bit. They commit too hard, and Dylan
Yeah,
Edgar actually committed really, really hard, and he didn't.
yeah,
And and then Wishart knew that there wasn't going to be a fullback because he always really commits hard to get across that field, and
yeah,
he underneath him.
yeah. No beer tonight, Rosie.
No, this English guy used to tell me don't drink on a school night.
Correct, correct. I'm on
So
the H2O. I'm on the H2O.
you are.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it
I don't
is.
know if I'll have a beer this weekend. Actually, when you just don't feel like,
I'll
We'll
probably
see,
have a beer this weekend or two.
see how it go. Now it'd be interesting, and they're already moving it a bit more. Be interesting to see if Melbourne play a bit more football. Looks like Munster's coming back on, so that's another call you got wrong.
Hugely surprised by that.
I'm not, because it was only his beak, really. Hughes kicks high again. They're definitely part of their plan, but Toho has got plenty of time.
But
Um,
he doesn't get it. He runs across field. You don't want to give Toto 5 to 10 meters, or he'll run straight through you. He, if Toto was a dog, he would be a staffy because he's always smiling. He's always like, but he's just a ball of muscle, and he goes 100 miles an hour. And I mean that
Nick,
in
Nick, Nick Lloyd has just messaged on Facebook saying Wishart Bellamy is the king, so he's listening to our comment there about Wishart. They are a little bit. They are struggling a little bit laterally now. Melbourne, they're struggling to get back a little bit. Penrith's pace, Penrith's change of direction is starting to tell on them a little bit now when they're defending. It doesn't look as pronounced now because Big Nelson isn't there, struggling to move sideways, but they've definitely got a bit of a problem. And don't forget, they've been defending for that extra man as well. They've been throwing more effort into their defence because they've had to make a short cover the shortfall of that extra person missing. So again, I mean, until they get back to the full quota, they're always going to be at risk. And Penrith have attacked really well, to be fair,
oh,
whilst Melbourne
that was
have been
brilliant. That was a brilliant
down.
tackle, King.
Yeah, yeah,
See, this is what Penrith have done. So they've taken. I don't know, and I haven't seen. So they've taken their hooker off, who's a very good defender. Probably not as. See, that shouldn't have been 6 to go. So once again, the football gods come up. I don't think Jerome Hughes played at that. He was coming
no,
across the field. See, this hooker comes on and he's more creative and more and definitely if you're a bit loose in the middle, a bit tired for, he's going to pick you up and he's going to get that quick play the ball. But he was actually one of the players that actually made that mistake in that defensive line that Wishart went
hmm
in a very poor attempt of a tackle. So I guess moving forward is where do they go in regards to that hooker rotation? Because in the last year, I don't even think they rotated it, and they're actually carrying another. Panthers are actually only carrying two forwards on the bench at the moment. Uh,
mm,
so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I guess that will be for this game when you got Liam Martin in there. I'd probably moving forward. I don't think Cole will be on the bench. He hasn't even come on the field yet. Um, but also too, the Storm have gone away from working between that 20-meter line. So 20 meters in from the sideline and
yeah,
line, they've gone away from it,
yeah.
and more a normal, conventional sort of set of six.
Exit. Yeah, yeah,
So Big
yeah.
Nelson on the field. So this will be interesting. See, in the past when Nelson's done this, he's tried to get back into the game by aggression, and let's see if he's sort of developed as and matured as a footballer and just
Well, what Melbourne need here is composure. They don't need anybody trying to jump out the box.
yeah.
It's Pen. Oh, Cleary's grabbing his
That's
shoulder.
what he was saying. Oh, he's
It's
gone. That's his bad shoulder too. Oh
he's in pain. So for those who aren't watching, listening
no
late,
no.
this is the moment where Nathan Cleary has just Stop interrupting me, Rosie. Nathan Clear is grabbing his shoulder and he's let out a big cry there. This might not be good. Number 13 for Melbourne. He actually came out the line a bit stupidly, actually, but he's
No,
managed to.
I I
to
actually think it's contact by Josh King. I don't think it's that one. I think it's this hit here.
oh yeah, on the floor. Oh,
Yeah,
I think it might be a wrestling move. Actually,
Paul, I don't
it
know.
might actually have been a wrestling move in the collision from whoever was on the floor with him.
Yeah, that was
You're
Josh
right.
King. And we were talking about the 9. Mitch Kenny's back on the field, so that's gonna. He, I, I don't.
I think he's in a bit of trouble here. Yeah,
Is
he's
that?
coming.
I'm
He's
trying to
coming.
remember which is the one that he actually. I don't think he's good at all.
No.
That
Well,
that look on his face is a man that this
he's
could.
moving okay though. It's moving okay. He's moving his arm, so they've not. It's not out of position or anything.
Yeah, what did he do when he got that operation? What did he? What
I
was?
don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Rosie, we're doing an audio. You've got to keep talking, or
Sorry,
not.
I'm just
Yeah.
remember. I'm pretty sure that's the shoulder that he got.
Well, he's only
He,
got two of them. There's a 50% chance.
yeah, and it was
That's a massive blow to Penrith closing out this game. Actually.
that's because there goes one of their field goal kickers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also too, the good. This is the thing that Penrith have this year that they haven't had previous year is Jerome Hughes is a lot better game manager than he was 12 months ago.
Yes, he is. He's having a great season. I think
And
he's played well today, and then I think Penrith turned the heat up on him a little bit and made him do a few more tackles in the second half. Now that's a huge error from Melbourne. So Melbourne have just tried to offload in their own 40. They didn't need that at all. They just need to stay in the grind and get the ball down the other end of the field.
that was actually just a really good shot from Cole. He just got up under the ball and the ball shot out. And here's me saying, "Oh, Panthers have only got two forwards on the bench and they got a 5'8" and a hooker." And then the next thing you know, Nathan Cleary's injured, and then Jared Cole can come on and
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. It's
He,
all part of the plan.
yeah, it's nearly like a Billy Slater moment.
Yeah.
So
The
this will be
Why is
interesting.
Is that Fisher Harris in 19?
Yeah, because
Why is he in 19? Was he named late?
no, yeah, because they weren't sure if he was going to play. So originally
Okay.
he was on the extended bench,
Yeah.
and then, and because if you actually look, Dylan Edwards is wearing number 20 as well. So
Okay.
here we go.
Might have been mind games from Ivan Cleary.
Oh, great hit
Yeah,
by
Melbourne have done well to hold him out there.
and Jerome Hughes is holding his shoulder.
Yeah. Look at
I,
this defensive line speed now from Penrith. Look how fast they come up.
yeah, they do. They do this quite regularly. It's usually around that 10 to 15 minutes to go, and they'll
Mm,
really identify a set of six where they're just going to try and keep them within their 20. If not their 20, their 30. And I think this is the point here where they do it. The only thing I'm thinking here is when they do it, they compress their line quite quick. So you've got Dane Laurie there, who's the winger, and he's only just outside the 20-meter line. And now you can't do that against quality players like Munster. They got away with it then, but that's the only thing that they can do is if you got Harry Grant and Munster is they really compress that line on the goal line, just to really put that pressure on that set of six. But there is room on the edges when they do it.
yeah, of course. And Melbourne did try and shift the ball a couple of times
I
earlier.
a little bit
Uh,
late.
yeah, a little bit too late in the party. I do get the feeling we're looking at the two grand final teams here. I've got to be honest.
Yeah,
I think Melbourne have certainly whatever the outcome in the next 10 minutes. I mean, Melbourne have been brilliant, really. So I just don't think they've been as creative as Penrith,
yep,
and I think Penrith have been very creative in that regard and very comfortable in each other's skins when they move the ball around. I just think Melbourne are very, very good at little 1% things all the time, and when you think they're gone for all money, they come back and do something to bite you on the botty. So this will be a last 10 minutes to savour, I think, in that regard.
I, I,
Melbourne are moving the ball in their own half now, while they were going to, but Munster dummied and tried to go himself. But yeah, they are speculating a little bit more now. It's like maybe Craig Bellamy is watching this YouTube live.
yeah, I reckon if we get a camera angle up to his box, he's probably sitting on an iPad, having a look. Where is
Yeah,
he? He's out the back on his iPad.
he's checking. He's checking you're not looking at his box, mate. So a penalty given away by Penrith here.
I
I'm
think it's right.
struggling to see what it's for, if I'm honest.
It's
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah, a
If
little
you
bit
watch,
hard.
I'd see. Yeah, it hits there. Yeah, and Mitch Kenny knew he knew right from the word go that he'd given it away.
Yeah,
Obviously, he's got to go. He's going to have to go off the field.
yeah.
Um, so I'd say Wishart's going to push to the wing, or
Who is
Meany.
this? Who is this coming off the field, Rosie?
That's Grant Anderson, the winger.
Okay.
So Grant, and he won't be coming back. And then, yeah, so he's going off the field. Surely it's only a report at the very worst. It
Mhm.
can't be
He
anything
was
more.
very low. Anderson was very low when he got clobbered. So
And I thought it bounced off the shoulder to a degree. So yeah,
yeah, just tickled his nose a bit. Do you think Wishart looks like his dad?
looks like his mum. I don't. He looks like his old man. I just want to call him Rod Junior.
Okay.
So see, look at that. See, the last penalty for Melbourne was on the 13-minute mark.
Yeah, Penrith have been really disciplined. So I did say, didn't I, at half time,
You definitely
Penrith
did.
cut the penalties down. Yeah.
Yeah, they have given away.
Cleary's listening. These coaches are listening to us, Rosie.
Well, I'm happy to take only 5% of their wages. But the thing too, though, is I've got to take my hat off to Bellamy. The way he's turned Jack Howarth into at least a quality centre in the NRL from a back rower all the way through his juniors is quite a significant feat.
Yeah.
You know, he did
Yeah.
similar with Cooper Cronk. He was a utility player at best and got inducted into the Hall
Ooh.
recently. And then,
Yeah.
oh, good work by Dylan Edwards. Good work by both players. There's my mate.
Storm are applying the pressure to Penrith now.
Yeah,
Of
it,
course,
it,
now when you force a dropout, it's not guaranteed a good result for you, is it?
oh no, I
When we
told
get
you.
penalties, so they've got to slot two over.
And
Yeah,
is
late
it
hit on Jerome Hughes.
that's stupid. I'm sorry. That is just
Yeah,
stupid.
Fisher Harris. Yeah,
You know nowadays that's going to be a penalty.
yeah.
He's he's going to be. I just don't know what he's saying.
Jerome Hughes keeps grabbing his shoulder.
Yeah, he grabbed his shoulder earlier at that down on the try line. I
Mm,
got a bit of RSI because they've been running at it all night.
mm. The I'm still going to stick with my tip, Melbourne for the Premiership,
Why Melbourne over Panthers?
because Penrith do have a vulnerability that they've not had in the previous 3 years.
Yep,
Melbourne are a bit more solid. Their performance level hasn't dipped that much. I also think that the the football that Penrith are playing, it's a lot easier to do that at home in round 24 than it is in a grand final or a semi final when the pressure's on.
yep,
I also think Melbourne will be better for this experience. Don't forget they weren't in and around it last year, so this has been a real good exercise for Melbourne. Don't forget this is at Penrith too, so that's another home ground advantage point there. So I do think I'm going to stick with Melbourne. Not because I don't think Penrith can do it, because I do, but I just think there's a vulnerability that they've not had. They've not had for a few years, and it was going to come eventually. And you know, I don't think Penrith are underperforming as the year has gone on at all. Really, they've maybe lost a couple more games than in the past, but they're looking just as good to the casual observer. I think so. I think their edge defense isn't quite as good as it has been in the last few years too. I think losing Crichton was a huge one. So
Yeah,
uh,
and they've lost Crichton, and then they've lost the replacement in Taylor May for
yeah,
more than one reason. But
yeah,
the one thing I can't understand here, and I don't know if it's they went with Dane Laurie today over Sunataruva. That was an
mm,
decision for me because Sunataruva is a winger center, but more a winger and a very and hasn't really been having a bad game. Don't get me wrong. Um, Dane Laurie's been playing some really, really good football as well, but he's been playing at fullback. That was a bit of a bad decision there by the Melbourne Storm. They've given the ball over on the 40-meter line.
yeah.
Uh,
Munster kicked early straight down Edwards' throat.
yeah.
Now, another thing I want to add as well: if Melbourne were a lesser team, Penrith would have put them away.
Oh, for sure. They would have scored.
It was looking like a 30-10 game, like I was just saying, because I said before this is a key stage of the game, and Penrith could really ram their initiative home, and no longer had I said that, and Storm turned it around.
They missed
The
a knock.
referee's missed a knock on there.
I'm actually saying that's a Liam Kennedy miss. The touch judge has missed that.
Okay.
I'm actually going to give Ashley Klein another tick. Um,
Yeah, I think he's had a great game. I've got to be
yeah,
honest.
I think he's had a really really solid game, and I think he's and a lot of people aren't really big Ashley Kine fans, but I honestly genuinely think he's the best ref in the game this year. I think Adam G's really gone off the boil, and yeah, Ashley Klein's not your purest ref, but he just lets him play football 90% of the time.
One thing I've noticed in this Melbourne Storm set is how fast and at tempo they're playing it.
Yeah, and the Panthers that should have been a penalty there against James Fisher Harris,
Yeah,
or a 6 to go, whatever they want to call it nowadays.
yeah, yeah.
And now they're running it out of there, and without Nathan Cleary there, giving him the ball at the 20-meter line is a lot safer.
Yes, yes. It's Cleary getting injured has certainly taken something out of the Penrith attack, as you would expect, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yep, for sure.
They're having a shift now with their own half. There's 4 minutes to play, but I think Melbourne are ready for it now. Melbourne have just got to close out this game, and
Well, they're the best team at closing out games.
very true.
You know, however,
So, so
Penrith a great team is if you're down and you want to put your house on a team that can come back late in the game. Panthers just ask Parramatta and Brisbane about that.
yeah, but Cleary tends to be on the field in those moments.
True, true, true. Question for you, Lee. Why do you
Mm.
think players that really shine for Panthers when they come in? So your Sullivan and your the young fella, his name escapes me, who played in the grand final last year and went to Newcastle. They go to these other clubs and they're not even
Yeah,
half.
Cogger. It's about the system because the system is stronger. So when you've got a strong system, your peers coach you as much as the coach coaches you.
Yep.
And if you think about Penrith, if anybody comes to Penrith, you know a good core of their team, probably up to 10 of them, 11 of them, 12 of them at any time in any 17 they pick, have come through their system in a minimum. So they are Penrith DNA, Penrith development system. So So I think it's the peer coaching more than anything. And I think it's the strength of the culture. And obviously, somebody like Cogger because that's what you're talking about,
Yeah,
isn't it?
one, yeah,
He just has to play a role in the Penrith system, whereas at Newcastle the system isn't probably as defined,
yeah.
and it's not as rubber stamped, and it's not got as many runs on the board, so there's a bit of conjecture around what it may be, etc. So yeah, that's my answer to that. 3 minutes left. Melbourne have got a set in the Penrith half because they just received a penalty. A try will kill the game off.
Yeah.
Really, all Melbourne need to do is try and get some kind of repeat set. But even that's not the same task as it used to be,
I
because
wouldn't even
everyone will do short kickoffs.
I wouldn't even look at doing a repeat set. I'd run it into the corner and then just back your defence.
Yeah,
So
there's that too. Yeah,
if you hand over the ball, say on the 2 or 3 or 4 meter line, you
yeah,
you can rush and just back your defence.
yeah.
It,
Melbourne shifting and then turning the ball back inside. On the last tackle, no sign of a field goal. They put it in the in goal. They get a dropout, so they've ended up going for the repeat set. Now, in days of yore, this would mean you're getting the ball back. With 2 minutes to go, I think every team would try the short kickoff, though, wouldn't they? The short dropout.
I think even in years gone past, you down by 2 points, 2 minutes to go, you'd always go the short kickoff anyhow.
Yeah,
Even with the rule changes, I think you'd do that. I don't know why you got a captain's challenge here. Um, they're saying that Pappenhausen got taken out. Is that what the Storm's saying? I don't. Oh, Tungo does take him out. I think that's a good.
yeah. I'm not sure they scored a try though.
No, 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 no. I think they just want the penalty, so they're going to get another set of six.
Yeah,
Tungo's only got eyes for. He's not turning
happened
around.
out. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Silly, silly. Penrith have done a couple of things here in their own 20 that have cost them,
So
or
this is
could
where
cost them.
you were talking about peer coaching with
Mm,
Panthers systems.
mm,
Over the past 2 to 3 years, they've lost a leader in Stephen Crichton, and we're seeing how such a good leader he is
mm,
over at Canterbury. Then next
mm.
year they're gonna lose a really strong leader in James Fisher Harris.
Yeah,
So over time, you lose those leaders, and that peer coaching group gets diluted all the time.
yeah.
Uh,
I think we're starting to see the end of the Penrith era. They might win another premiership this year, but we're definitely starting to see signs of it. Although,
yeah,
don't they get the Tigers 5-8 next year?
yeah.
The kid.
But oh, sometimes they got the no, they don't get the Tigers 5-8. They get the Parramatta guy Tuolungi. Or no,
That's right. Yeah.
and his brother. But still, I don't. I watch a lot of things he does. He does all the flashy things, but sometimes he can come up short on the things that you don't get
Mhm, mhm.
or don't get. And it also depends on where they're going to play him. They'll probably play him in the centres
Mm.
because he's not going to play
Doesn't
fullback.
he want? Oh yeah, yeah. He's not going to play fullback, is he? Over Edwards.
I don't know what they're going to do there. Plus, they're getting a back rower from the West Tigers.
No,
Um,
Penrith have got a set. They've got a minute left to score. Storm have just knocked on. Klein's called a scrum, so they're rushing to pack the scrum.
I don't know why they just didn't play on.
I know, because they've chewed up some clock there too.
Yeah, and
There's some
but
kind of captain's challenge here as well. So this is a very good captain's challenge by Melbourne,
it's ta-
simply because they get the breath back to defend this as well as they can,
yeah.
and it's a strip. It's a strip. It's going to be a penalty.
Nah, no, they won't. They won't. That's not a strip. See, this is another thing that they're doing into the game, and Penrith do it
Challenge
in.
unsuccessful. Why is it not a strip?
Uh, they're saying that he's
Get his
regret.
hands on the ball.
I see what Penrith are doing, and this is very smart. Is Penrith are going in there, and Asaio's the best at it. He'll go in for the tackle up high. He'll go in for the hug, but he likes to get his arm between the ball and the chest. So what he's going to
Mm-hmm.
get in more than he's going to get a slow to play the ball down,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and could possibly get a pop out, because if you
Mm-hmm.
watch him, a lot of the time he's got his arm in there. The opposition get
Oh,
a slow play the ball from it.
Penrith early shift. Stop. We've got to talk through this set, Rosie. Stop pontificating. So Luai's burst into life. He's not done much this second half, has he?
He hasn't had that opportunity, I think.
No. Penrith are moving the ball. Melbourne have judged it really well. Game over. Oh no, penalty. Every time, yeah, high shot. Clock's on 17 seconds.
Yeah, Munster doesn't. He knows it's a penalty, but he's just holding the ball.
Yeah,
For a
yeah.
second. What are they going to do? They're going to get one or two tackles.
Two plays, yeah.
Yeah, he knows he probably popped him in the nose.
Probably did it on purpose.
He did get him.
Mm.
It was
Ban him 20 matches. So clock will go off. Luai kicks for the sideline.
then they've got to get.
They'll be lucky to get one play, won't they?
Yeah, that's the whole point. The kid and the winger are showing. So
Edwards went for the 2-point field goal. Storm are in. Storm have won.
kick I've seen in the world.
24-22. When's the last time Penrith got beat at home?
We know one thing: Dylan Edwards can't kick a bomb.
He wasn't that far off. When's the last time Penrith got beat at home, Rosie?
I think Parramatta beat them at home last year, and Brisbane beat them at home last year.
Okay.
But yeah,
you don't think they've been beaten at home this year?
I think they did get beaten at home this year during the Origin period.
That's a massive win for Melbourne. They're 4 points in the lead now at the top of the ladder.
See, what this means
That's
now is
huge.
Bellamy can strategically start to rest people.
That's right.
So Jerome Hughes, I think they play next week. They play the Dolphins at home.
I mean, to me, this was a victory for staying in the battle, sticking to your guns. Penrith played with a gay abandon, but they actually lost a bit of discipline at times, Penrith.
Correct, yeah.
Their edge defence has a lot to answer for today in terms of discipline. And also that substitution from Bellamy, bringing Wishart on, brilliant stuff. And obviously Cleary getting injured wasn't a great thing too. So I have been Lee Addison.
I've been Brendan Rose.
I still am.
Oh,